The fountain pen scratched violently across the paper, and in the same instant I heard the man behind me break down in sobs. Luna, please don't go. It's my fault. Just give me one more chance, okay? I didn't look back. I walked out of Manhattan in my stilettos. Behind me came the thud of something heavy hitting the ground. I turned to see the once proud Adrian on his knees on the steps, tears streaming down his face. Luna, you can't do this to me. I curved my lips into a smile. Voss, now you beg me? Too bad, it's too late. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening. The red light outside the Riverdale Memorial Hospital burned for exactly 6 hours. I hugged the thermos on the bench until my legs went numb before Adrian finally strode out, coat flapping. Procedure went perfectly. He tugged off his mask, exhausted but still handsome. I stood to meet him. You must be B. I brought butternut squash soup. He accepted the thermos but didn't open it. Glancing toward the hospital, the patient's family, in the ward keeping watch, I studied his face carefully. Adrian, you're spent. Why not come home early tonight? Can't. I have rounds. He shook his head. Luna, go on home. Don't wait. The same line I'd heard countless times in 3 years of marriage. Then I'll wait in the physician's lounge and sort your files. Really? No need. Impatience edged his voice. I'm probably staying over. You'd just be bored. He was already striding toward the elevator, leaving me alone in the silent corridor. I squeezed the key fob, a familiar ache rising in my chest. Just before the doors closed, I saw a figure in a pink scrub suit hurry after him. That silhouette was unmistakable. Chloe, head nurse of cardio surgery, my husband's right hand. I stood there a long time, then finally turned and left the hospital. Back home, the huge Hamptons lakeside villa felt eerily silent. The housekeeper had long since clocked out. Only cold walls kept me company. I WhatsApped Adrian. I'm home. When are you coming back? Half an hour later, he answered. Not tonight. Get some rest. I stared at the screen, suddenly remembering Instagram. His latest post, 2 hours ago, a photo of coffee and cake captioned, night shift snack. Across the table, a woman's delicate hand sported a tiny butterfly ring. My heart skipped when I zoomed in. I'd seen that ring on Chloe's finger, and the setting was no hospital, but a stylish Brooklyn cafe. My hands shook. Rounds, night shift, all lies. They were together. I scrolled his feed and found more. Last week, an academic conference with a Ferris wheel at Santa Monica Pier in the background. Last month, a late shift that showed a dim dive bar in downtown LA. In every shot, Chloe's shadow, her water glass, her wristwatch, her bouquet. I sat stunned. I'd been lying to myself. Every tender moment, every loving facade, fiction. I collapsed on the sofa and cried until the phone rang. Grandfather, Luna, why aren't you asleep yet? Grandpa, my voice cracked. Is that Voss boy bullying you? His tone sharpened. No, I just missed you. I wiped my eyes. Then come home for a few days. Warmth returned to his voice. Tomorrow's the weekend. Bring Adrian to dinner. Okay, Grandpa. After hanging up, I grew calm. Maybe it was time to go back, where someone truly treasured me. I texted Adrian. Dinner at Grandpa's tomorrow? Are you free? He answered quickly. You go. I have a case. Another operation. I laughed bitterly and said nothing more. He wouldn't care whether I went or stayed. In his heart I no longer mattered. Chloe did. Would he even notice if I vanished? The next morning I packed and left for the Sterling estate in Bedford Hills. Adrian was still asleep. I didn't wake him. On the table I left the usual sticky note. Breakfast's in the kitchen. Don't forget your meds. Exactly what I'd done for 3 years, catering to him. And when had he last worried about me? Driving to the Sterling estate, I felt overwhelmed. I'd taken this route countless times. Grandpa's arms had always been my refuge, but I was no longer the carefree girl I'd been. I was a wife betrayed. Tears blurred the road. The estate squatted in the heart of Westchester County on a lot the size of a city block. The guard waved the moment he saw my car. Mrs. Back. The old master's been waiting in the garden since dawn. I forced a smile and rolled through the gates. Under the pavilion, Grandpa was sipping tea. He rose the instant I stepped out. My treasure is home. He opened his arms. I ran into them like a child. Tears burst free. Grandpa, there. Who hurt my baby? He patted my back. Heartbreak in his voice. No one. I just missed you. Come whenever you miss me. He held me at arm's length. You've lost weight. That boy not feeding you? I shook my head. He treats me well. Humph. He scoffed. 3 years of marriage, no grandchild. What exactly are you two doing? The words stabbed. Children. We barely shared a bed. Since the wedding Adrian had pleaded exhaustion, coming home rare nights only to crash, never touching me. I'd thought him overworked, too considerate to demand, but maybe he'd had someone else all along. Luna, Grandpa frowned. You're pale. I haven't slept well. I rallied. Let's go in. He didn't press, but suspicion lingered. Inside, memories soaked every inch. 25 years of my life. Miss, your creamy garlic parmesan risotto is on the stove, Perez beamed. And the honey-glazed pork ribs you loved as a kid. Thanks, Perez. My throat burned. Here, someone truly cared. Where's the young master? She looked around. The master told cook to make herb-roasted sea bass just for him. He has surgery. I stared at the floor. Again, Theodore's brows knitted. All that boy does is work, never tends his wife. I managed a smile. A doctor's calling is to heal. What about his marriage? Grandpa snapped. Luna, stop indulging him. I said nothing. He was right. Yet what difference did it make now? During lunch I forced normality so he wouldn't worry. But Theodore missed nothing. Luna, he set down his chopsticks. Eyes stern. Tell Grandpa straight. Are you and Adrian in trouble? My hand jerked. A meatball rolled into my bowl. We're fine. Fine? He gave a cold laugh. Fine, and you're crying? Only then did I realize tears were falling again. You were raised under my nose. You think you can hide? His voice softened. Speak. I bit my lip and shook my head. Some pain only spreads when shared. Theodore didn't push again, but his doubts were planted. After lunch I rested in my old room. Unchanged since childhood. Grad photo on the desk. Polaroids with friends on the wall. How brilliantly I'd smiled. How bright the future had seemed. If choosing again, would I marry Adrian? Absolutely not. But if doesn't exist. I checked my phone and Adrian hadn't messaged once. Hadn't asked if I'd arrived. So much for concern. The last shred of hope died. Then a message pinged. Not from him, but an unknown number. Sterling, it's Chloe. I'd like to talk. My heart lurched. She dared contact me. Boast. I stared, hands trembling. A minute later she added, you may not want to see me, but there are things you should know. I inhaled and typed. What things? Too much for text. Let's meet tonight, 7 p.m., Midtown Manhattan. I hesitated, then answered, fine. Better to face reality than imagine monsters alone. The afternoon crawled. I stayed in my room guessing her motives. Would she demand a divorce? Announce a pregnancy? My palms sweated. At 6:30 I told Grandpa I was meeting a friend and drove to the cafe. The place was half empty. Chloe sat in a corner. Prettier in person, white dress, long hair, girl next door charm. Exactly the type men fall for. I slid into the seat across. Forcing calm. Sterling, she began softly. Thank you for coming. Get to the point. My tone was colder than I felt. She twisted her fingers. I know you probably hate me, but why hate you? I cut in. You didn't do anything wrong. She blinked, startled. She started again. You know about Adrian and me? I know. I nodded. You're together. Chloe's face flamed, panic flickering. You knew? Give me some credit. I gave a thin smile. So, what? Victory lap? That's not it. She hurriedly shook her head. I wanted to tell you that Adrian and I truly love each other. And then, she bit her lip. I hope you'll give us your blessing. I couldn't help laughing out loud. This woman was really something. Stole someone else's husband and still wanted the victim to step aside. Winters, are you aware that Adrian and I are legally married? I know, but... Her voice grew smaller and smaller. He says he doesn't love you. That your marriage exists in name only. Those words felt like a knife plunging straight into my heart. So in Adrian's eyes our marriage really was worthless. He'd even said it to an outsider. What else did he tell you? I struggled to keep my tone steady. Chloe glanced at me, hesitated, then said, He said he only married you to repay the Sterling family's kindness, not for love. Every syllable lashed across my face like a whip. Repay a debt. So in his eyes, I was merely a benefactor to be reimbursed, not a wife. Anything else? My voice started to tremble. He said, Chloe seemed reluctant, but continued anyway. He said you're too dependent on him, that it stresses him out. Dependent? Where, exactly? Had I depended on him? I'd only tried to be a good wife. To care for him and look after him, was that dependence? Sterling, are you all right? Chloe noticed my pallor and asked with concern. I drew a deep breath and forced myself to stay calm. I'm fine. Please go on. I know these words hurt, but I think you deserve the truth. Her tone turned earnest. Adrian's a good man. He just didn't want to hurt you, so he kept putting off the divorce. But dragging it out helps no one. She looked me in the eye. You deserve your own happiness too, don't you? I was silent for a long while. The woman was right. Carrying on like this helped no one. Better to end it cleanly than live inside a self-deceiving lie. I understand. I rose. Winters, thank you for telling me. So I'll think about it. I picked up my bag. But there's something I want you to know as well. What is it? Adrian isn't as wonderful as you imagine. I held her gaze. If he can betray me, he can betray you one day. I hope you'll watch yourself. With that, I turned and left the cafe. Behind me Chloe called. Sterling. I didn't look back. The moment I stepped outside, the whole world felt hushed. 3 years of marriage. Finished just like that. And I, at last, could be free. It was already 9 9 at night when I got home. Adrian hadn't returned. The huge house was empty except for me. I sat on the living room sofa while Chloe's words replayed in my head. So in his heart I was merely someone to be repaid. So he thought me too dependent. So our marriage was dead in his eyes. The joke was I'd only just found out. At 11 Adrian finally came back. The instant he saw me on the sofa, surprise flickered across his face. Luna, why aren't you asleep? I was waiting for you. I looked at him calmly. We need to talk. He hesitated, then walked over and sat beside me. Talk about what? Divorce. 2 simple syllables drained the color from his face. Luna, what are you saying? I said, let's get divorced. I repeated, voice still steady. Why? His tone shook. Did something happen? I couldn't help laughing. Even now he was going to play dumb. Adrian, do you think there's any point in continuing this marriage? Of course there is, he blurted. Luna, we're husband and wife. We what? I cut him off. Do we have love? Do we have a normal married life? Do we have a shared future? Each question left him speechless. Luna, he reached for my hand. I pulled away. I'm tired. I stood. For 3 years I've waited for you to change, to truly accept this home, but now I see your heart was never here, so why keep torturing each other? He stared at me, eyes full of struggle. Luna, give me some time. I can change. Change what? I gave a cold laugh. Change the way you feel about Chloe? At that name his face went even paler. You know? I know everything. His panic somehow set me free, including every word you said to her. Luna, let me explain. No need. I waved it off. I've figured it out. Better we part with dignity than go on in pain. I'm going to the law firm tomorrow to prepare the divorce papers. I turned toward the stairs. Luna, he shouted after me. You can't do this. We can start over. I paused, but didn't look back. Adrian, some things, once shattered, can never be pieced together again. Just like our marriage. Back in the bedroom I began to pack. In truth there wasn't much. For 3 years I'd trodden carefully, afraid of burdening him. I'd even restrained myself when shopping, terrified he'd think I was squandering his money. Looking back, it was ridiculous. I was a sterling heiress. When had I ever needed to worry about money? When the suitcase was full I texted grandfather. Grandpa, I'm coming home tomorrow for a while. He answered quickly. What happened? I thought a moment, then replied, nothing. Just missing you. He didn't press, but I knew he sensed something. Fine. Once the paperwork was done I'd tell him everything. I knew he would understand. I went to the law firm first thing next morning. The attorney who received me was a top litigator in his 50s, an old friend of the Sterling family. Luna, are you sure about this divorce? He asked gravely. It's no small matter. Have you thought it through? I have. I nodded. Uncle Wang, please draft the papers. Attorney sighed. Then what about property division? You didn't sign a prenup. Under the law, I don't want anything. I cut him off. House, cars, savings, all his. What? He stared. Luna, are you crazy? That property is worth tens of millions. I don't care. I shook my head. I just want this marriage over. Attorney studied me for a long time, then finally nodded. All right, I'll prepare the agreement, but I must warn you. Given your family's position, you'd better discuss this with Theodore first. I will, I said, but please draft it now. I want this finished quickly. I drove straight to the Sterling estate after leaving his office. Grandfather was in his study handling company matters. The moment he saw me, he set down his documents. Luna, why are you back so early? I walked up to him and drew a deep breath. Grandpa, I'm divorcing Adrian. The study became so quiet you could have heard a pin drop. Theodore stared at me for ages, then slowly stood. Why? He cheated. I stated the truth flatly. With a nurse from Riverdale Memorial. Bastard. Theodore slammed the desk, rattling the teacups. I knew that Vospunk was no good. Grandpa, don't be angry. I moved quickly to steady him. Your health. How can I not be furious? His face flushed scarlet. Who the hell does Adrian think he is? Bullying my granddaughter? I'll have someone break his legs right now. Grandpa, I stopped him. Don't. Let's settle this civilly. Civility? Theodore sneered. Where was his civility when he betrayed you? Luna, you're too soft. Scum like him should pay a price. I knew he ached for me, but I wanted no further entanglement. Grandpa, let's part on good terms. I pleaded. I've already asked counsel to draw up the agreement. And the assets, he demanded. Your dowry paid for every penny of those. I'm leaving it all. What? His eyes bulged. Luna, have you lost your mind? That's tens of millions. I'm not short of money. I shook my head. The Sterling fortune could last me lifetimes. It's not about money. He trembled with rage. It's the principle. Why let that scumbag scumbag prophet. I was quiet a moment, then said, Grandpa, I just want this over. Money can be earned again, but time and energy are finite. I refuse to waste the rest of my life on someone unworthy. Theodore gazed at me, heartbreak in his eyes. My foolish girl. He exhaled. Why so stubborn? Grandpa, I'm not foolish. I clasped his hand. I only want a fresh start. We talked for a long time. In the end, Theodore agreed. Since you insist, we'll do it your way. He patted my hand. But understand this. Divorce yes. Letting him walk away rich. No. What do you mean? You'll see. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. That afternoon Adrian called. Luna, where are you? We need to talk properly. There's nothing to discuss. I replied. The papers are ready. When can you sign? I won't sign, he shouted. Luna, I refuse the divorce. I gave a cold laugh. Your refusal means nothing. I've decided. Why? He sounded anguished. Luna, I can change. I can cut Chloe off. Too late. I cut him off. Adrian, some mistakes, once made, can't be undone. I hung up and felt wonderfully light. 3 years of marriage. Finished. Some reluctance lingered, but far more relief. I could finally restart my life. That night Adrian showed up at the Sterling estate. He knelt outside the front gates and wouldn't leave no matter how the guards coaxed. I want to see Luna, he shouted. Let me explain. When Theodore heard, he was livid. Let him kneel, he snorted. Now he begs. Where was he before? From an upstairs window, I watched Adrian kneeling in the cold. He wore his white coat. He'd come straight from the hospital. Back straight, knees on the icy pavement. Once proud Voss, now begging on his knees for his marriage. I can't deny I was moved, but being moved and being hurt are two different things. I turned, went downstairs, and walked toward the gates. Miss, Theodore gave strict orders. He's not allowed in, the guard said, blocking me. I know, I just need to say a few words. I walked to the gate and looked through the iron bars at Adrian, who was kneeling on the ground. Go away, I won't see you. When he heard my voice, his head snapped up. Luna, joy flashed in his eyes. You came out. I came to tell you to stop wasting your breath. I kept my tone even. We're done. It's not over, he said urgently. Luna, I admit I was wrong, but we can start again. Start again? I gave a cold laugh. Adrian, do you honestly think that's possible? It is. His voice quivered. I'll cut off all contact with Chloe. I swear I'll never see her again. And then? I asked. Can you promise there won't be another Chloe? He froze. Adrian, the problem isn't Chloe. It's your heart. I held his gaze. You never truly loved me, did you? He opened his mouth to deny it, but in the end nothing came out. See, even you aren't sure. I turned to leave. In that case, why force anything? Luna, he called after me, desperate. Please, give me one more chance. I paused without turning around. Adrian, I already gave you 3 years worth of chances. From the first day of our marriage, I kept giving them, but you never once cherished them. Now it's too late. I walked back into the house without looking back. Behind me, Adrian's heart-rending shouts tore through the air, but my heart had turned to ice. Early the next morning, more commotion erupted outside. I leaned out the window and saw a pack of reporters. Sources say Voss knelt outside the Sterling estate all night to win his wife back. Sterling, how do you respond to your husband's gesture? Rumors claim a third party broke up your marriage. Any truth to that? They fired questions while cameras flashed non-stop. I frowned. How had the press found out? Just then, Theodore walked in. Grandfather, the reporters outside. I summoned them, he said calmly. Since that Voss fellow won't back off, don't blame me for playing rough. I understood. He intended to ruin Adrian's reputation. Grandfather, isn't that excessive? Excessive? Theodore snorted. Did he think betraying you was within limits? Luna, you're too kind. That's why people bully you. This time, I'm settling the score for you. Seeing his resolve, I knew persuasion was pointless. Fine. Adrian and I were finished anyway. Ripping off the bandage quickly might spare him false hope. By noon the story had exploded. Someone had leaked that Adrian carried on an affair with a nurse at Riverdale Memorial, complete with photos of them entering a Manhattan hotel together. His reputation plummeted. The hospital buckled under pressure. The board had already summoned him, and I became the object of public sympathy. Poor Sterling, saddled with such a scumbag. So what if she's an heiress? A scrub nurse still stole her husband, but the Sterling's counterstrike was brutal. Adrian's finished. The chatter left me conflicted. Adrian had brought it on himself, yet watching him pilloried still stung. After all, we had once been husband and wife. In the afternoon, Chloe called. Sterling, please, ask Theodore to call off the dogs, she sobbed. Adrian can't take much more. That's not my concern, I replied coldly. You two made this mess. We know we wronged you, but must you drive us into the ground? Drive you into the ground? I laughed softly. Winters, have your roles reversed? You broke our marriage. You hurt me, yet you claim I'm ruthless? She choked, speechless. Let me teach you something, I said, voice hard. Actions have consequences. Did you assume betrayal was cost-free? Now you're scared. Too late. Hanging up. I felt a rush of vindication. Why should I bear all the pain while they walked away? Since they chose betrayal, they could pay the price. The divorce paperwork sailed through. The moment I signed my name, a lightness I'd never known flooded me. I was finally free. Adrian sat across from me, pale as ash. Luna, he began, but I cut him off. Voss, from now on we're strangers. I rose. I wish you and Winters every happiness. I picked up the divorce decree and walked out without a backward glance. A chair clattered behind me, yet I didn't turn. Outside Manhattan, sunlight spilled across my face, warm, bright. My new life began at that instant. Grandfather was waiting. He hurried over the moment I appeared. Well, sweetheart, done. I waved the decree. I'm a free woman. Excellent. Theodore beamed. Come, we celebrate. We headed to Midtown's most exclusive restaurant and ordered every dish I loved. To my granddaughter's fresh start. He lifted his glass. Cheers. I clinked mine against his. The red wine slid down my throat. Liberating. What's next for you? He asked. Not sure. Maybe a breather. Then think about work. Work? He frowned. Sterling is yours eventually. You're still young. Grandfather. No rush. Young at 70 plus? He chuckled. Time I retired. Start next month. I'll teach you to run the empire. I considered, then nodded. Better to stay busy than brood. And it was time I took charge of my future instead of leaning on others. While we chatted, the dining room stirred. I followed the murmurs and saw Adrian in the doorway, haggard, eyes bloodshot, as if he hadn't slept in days. Luna, spotting me, he rushed over. What are you doing here? I frowned. I followed you, he panted. Luna, I have to speak. We've nothing left to say. We do, he insisted. I broke up with Chloe. Gasps rippled through the room. Phones lifted for photos. So? I asked evenly. Why should I care? I love you. Luna, his voice cracked. I was stupid before, but I see clearly now. I can't live without you. Please come back. With that he dropped to his knees again. Patrons stared. Shutters clicked. I burned with embarrassment. Adrian, get up. I hissed. Stop making a scene. Not until you agree to try again. Desperation filled his eyes. I swear I'll never look at another woman, only you. His tearful declaration stirred something complicated inside me. Once, I'd have wept to hear those words. Now they merely felt absurd. Adrian, I crouched to eye level. 3 years ago, if you'd said this, I'd have cried from joy. Today, it's just pathetic. Your love arrived too late. I straightened and turned away. Luna, he screamed after me. You can't do this. I gave up everything for you. I'm nothing without you. I paused but didn't turn. What exactly did you give up? Adrian, Chloe? I let out a cold laugh. Or did you marry me for sterling influence? He froze. Clearly stunned I'd voice it. Think what you like. I cut him off. Our marriage was a mistake from the start. You never loved me. I shouldn't have loved you. Walking away is best for both. With Theodore beside me, I left the restaurant. Adrian's shouts echoed behind, but my heart had iced over. Life after divorce proved calmer than I'd imagined. I moved back into the Sterling estate, shared breakfast with grandfather, then headed to the office to study management. Adrian still crossed my mind, yet the searing pain had dulled into a quiet, liberating ache. A month later, I officially took over segments of Sterling. Running a conglomerate was tougher, and more exhilarating than expected. Poring over spreadsheets, I sensed purpose. I was no one's wife, no one's accessory. I was simply Luna, heir to Sterling. One afternoon, as I reviewed documents, my secretary knocked. Sterling, someone's here to see you. Who? Winters. I hesitated. What could she want? Send her up. Minutes later, Chloe entered, gaunt and shadow-eyed, looking as if she hadn't rested in weeks. Sterling, she murmured, hovering by the door. Sorry to intrude. Sit. I gestured to a chair. What brings you? She sat, lingered in silence, then blurted. I came to apologize. I set my pen down. Apologize. For what? For Adrian and me. She kept her head low. We were wrong. We hurt you. Bit late, isn't it? I asked coolly. I know, but I had to say it. She lifted her gaze, remorse swimming in her eyes. Sterling. Adrian, he's in a bad way. Riverdale Memorial fired him. No other hospital will touch him. He drinks all day, locks himself away, won't listen to anyone. I tried. Nothing works. He says without you he's nothing. Listening. I felt an odd mix mix of emotions. We were divorced, yet memories of marriage lingered. Still, he'd earned every scrap of misery. Winters, you misunderstand, I said calmly. Adrian's collapse isn't because I won't forgive him. It's the bill for choices he made the moment he betrayed our marriage. Regret it now. Too late. Chloe lowered her head, tears starting to fall. Sterling, I know I have no right to ask you for anything, but I still have to ask. Could you give him one more chance? Even if it's not about getting back together. At least let him stand on his own feet again? Looking at her sobbing, I suddenly felt curious. Why are you pleading for him? By all accounts, you two should be together now, right? We broke up. She wiped her tears. Not long after you and he divorced. We split. Why? Because I realized there was never room for me in his heart. She gave a bitter laugh. Even when he was with me, he was thinking about you. I was nothing more than a crutch he used to escape. Thinking back, I was truly stupid, believing I could replace you in his heart. Hearing that, a jumble of emotions surged in me. So Adrian really had loved me. Only this love had arrived too late. Winters, thank you for telling me, I said, standing. But between him and me, it's truly impossible now. Some things, once shattered, can never be pieced back together. I hope you understand. Chloe nodded disappointedly, stood, and turned to leave. Reaching the doorway, she suddenly looked back. Sterling, one last question. What? Do you still love him? I was silent for a long time, then finally shook my head. I don't. It was true. After everything I'd been through, my love for Adrian had been exhausted. Now I just wanted to live my life well. I wouldn't bend myself for anyone again. Wouldn't sacrifice my happiness for anyone. I would live freely, brilliantly, as myself. 2 years later, Sterling was thriving under my leadership. I had also changed from the little woman who once lost herself for love into a genuine business powerhouse. Today was the company's annual gala. I stood on stage in an elegant gown, delivering a speech. Below sat executives and partners, their eyes full of admiration and respect. Thank you everyone for your hard work this year. My voice rang out clear and strong. With our joint efforts, Sterling's tomorrow will be even brighter. Thunderous applause. After the speech, I stepped down to mingle. While chatting with several partners, my secretary approached. Sterling, someone wants to see you. Who? Adrian. Hearing that name, I froze. 2 years. We hadn't seen each other once. I'd occasionally heard bits of news. He'd opened a small clinic in upstate New York. Business just so, but I'd never gone looking for details. Let him in. A few minutes later, Adrian appeared at the gala. He was much thinner than 2 years before. His hair slightly gray. His whole look older. Yet his gaze held more resolve than ever. Luna. He walked up, voice trembling. Voss. I regarded him calmly. What can I do for you? My distant address stung. Pain flashed in his eyes. I wanted to say thank you. Thank me for what? For not taking me back. He gave a bitter smile. If you had softened, we'd probably still be stuck in that wrong marriage. Hurting. Now I finally understand what love is. I understand loving someone doesn't mean possessing her. It means wanting her to be happy. Looking at him, I felt a tangled mix of emotions. This man had finally grown up. Unfortunately, too late. Voss. We each have new lives now. Let the past stay past. I know. He nodded. I came today to tell you something. What is it? I'm getting married. The words surprised me. Congratulations. I said it sincerely. I hope you cherish her this time. I will. He looked into my eyes. Luna, though we can't be together, I hope you find your own happiness. Someone as outstanding as you will surely be cherished. I smiled faintly and said nothing. Truth is, I'm doing great now, a thriving career, healthy family. That's enough. As for love, I'll let it come if it will. Then I won't disturb you any longer. Adrian looked at me deeply. Take care. You too. Watching his retreating figure, my heart was tranquil. No resentment, no longing, just a quiet sense of release. Our story could finally be closed. After the gala, I rode home with grandfather. Adrian came to see you today? Theodore asked. He's getting married. Came to tell me. What about you? He studied me. Ever think about marrying again? Not for the moment. I shook my head. Life's good as is. Silly girl. A woman still needs a home. He sighed. Look at you. Next door's grandson. Returned Ph.D. Nice looking. Should I arrange a meeting? Grandfather. I laughed in exasperation. I'm only 28. No rush. What's a no rush? He glared. After 30 you're an older mother. You want me to miss ever holding a great-grandchild? I cracked up. All right. If the right one comes along, I'll I'll think about it. That's better. Theodore nodded contentedly. Back home. After washing up I sat on the bed and scrolled the day's news. A headline caught my eye. Director Chin Mo wraps new romantic film. Male lead's mysterious identity sparks guesswork. I clicked. An urban love story about a powerful woman and a gentle man. Looking at the photo, I grew curious about the actor. Chen Mo is a celebrated director. The performers he chooses are usually exceptional, but it had nothing to do with me. I'm only an ordinary viewer. I set the phone down, lay on the bed, and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow is another new day. My life still holds countless possibilities, and every one of them will be written by me. 3 months later, Sterling needed to shoot a corporate film. I was in my office discussing the plan with the production team when the door pushed open. Sorry, I'm late. A deep, magnetic voice. I looked up and froze. The man in the doorway was about 30, tall, chiseled features, eyes as deep as a starlit sky, and I'd seen that face before. It was the mysterious lead from that news article. Brother Mo, you finally arrived. Director Chen Mo laughed. Standing. Let me introduce, this is Sterling, CEO of Sterling. Sterling, this is my friend Caleb, the leading man for the film. Caleb stepped forward, hand extended. Sterling, I've long admired your reputation. We shook. His palm was warm. Cross. Looking forward to working together. Through the discussion I discovered Caleb was not only striking but insightful. He grasped the script perfectly. His suggestions on point. More striking was his aura, gentle yet resolute, drawing people in. Sterling, for that final shot, I think we could handle it like this. He gestured as he spoke, utterly absorbed, an attractive sight. Sure. I nodded. Let's do it your way. When the meeting ended and everyone prepared to leave, Caleb stayed behind. Sterling, could I have a few minutes? Of course. Curious what he'd say. Once the others had gone, he spoke. Actually, I came today for more than the film. Then what for? For you. He met my gaze. Sterling, may I court you? So direct. I was caught off guard. Cross. We only just met. I know it sounds abrupt. He cut in gently. But love at first sight does exist. At least for me it does. Seeing his earnest expression, a strange feeling stirred. Not to be moved would be a lie. He was charismatic. And his sincerity was palpable. Yet after betrayal in my last marriage, I'm wary with matters of the heart. Cross. I need time to consider. Of course. He smiled softly. I'll wait. Wait until you know me. Until you're ready to embrace a new relationship. I won't rush you or apply pressure. I only ask that you give me a chance to prove my sincerity. The steadiness in his eyes reminded me of Adrian. He, too, had vowed like this when he pursued me. And the end. Cross. I'll need time. Naturally. He nodded. I'll wait for your answer. With that he politely excused himself. I sat in my office. Emotions tangled. Honestly, Caleb felt good. He possessed a mature man's charm, and I found myself wanting to know more. But reason warned me not to trust so easily. Love spoils far too quickly. That evening at home I told grandfather. What? Someone's courting you? Theodore's eyes lit up. Tell me, what kind of man? An actor. Good looking. Seems decent. Actor? He frowned. That world's messy. Be careful. I know. I nodded. That's why I'm thinking it over. Think what? He glared. You're almost 30. Still so picky? Date first. If it doesn't fit, you part. It's not the old society. It's only dating. What's the problem? His words made sense. I shouldn't refuse every possibility because one marriage failed. Maybe I should give myself, and Caleb, a chance. Next day Caleb messaged me. Sterling, lovely weather. Care to grab coffee? I thought and replied, sure. That afternoon, we met in a quiet Brooklyn cafe. I didn't expect you to agree so quickly. Caleb smiled. I thought I'd wait ages. I figured it out. I lifted my cup. Life's short. I won't shut out the sunshine because of past shadows. Well said. He nodded. So are we officially dating? Pretty much. I smiled. Fair warning, I'm slow to warm. You'll need patience. No problem. His eyes sparkled. I have all the patience in the world. From that day we were officially together. Caleb proved an excellent man, tender, funny, respectful of my thoughts. He never used work as an excuse to dodge life like Adrian, nor did he entangle himself secretly with other women. Gradually I realized I truly liked this man. 6 months later we became a committed couple. 1 year later he proposed. In the south gardens of the Sterling estate he knelt, solitaire ring in hand. Luna, will you marry me? Meeting his earnest gaze, I teared up. Yes, this time I believe my choice is right. Because this man truly loves me, and I love him. Thank you for listening today. If you enjoyed the story, like and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful tales. See you next time.